All right, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it for Group 9, Session 3.
Just getting going.
So I'm still obviously sick. You probably hear from my voice. So we're gonna see how long I can go. All of that. Should be okay. I hope so. Anyway, probably try to talk more quiet and then maybe not use as many accents. We'll see. So what did we do last session? Well, last session we had spent time with the Duke at the table, getting some information, as well as them asking questions of us. And we kind of told them of the attack on the ships. You all kind of requested aid for the crew and passengers, noting the captain, the quartermaster, still alive. Most likely, we'll have a meeting with the Duke themselves, or we can, convening with you at some point. Remember, in terms of time, this is literally like the same day of everything. So, time hasn't really passed a whole lot for things to happen. They mentioned the tavern, Barlow that runs the tavern there. And they said there was stuff to do with Pelu, right? They mentioned something had happened in the mine. They didn't really know much about it. And then Pelu might have other things because you had inquired about work to be done, service. Coming to Pelu, um, Pelu had informed about what had happened, but they still were on the cusp of information. They were still a little bit unfamiliar with the situation because everything had been very chaotic in how it had unfolded just the morning, right? And that, in terms of time, had only been a couple hours, really, where you all were at. They had received that message. So you headed into the mine and you did not actually ask them for gold or anything for the service rendered. Um, yeah, so you headed in. You got to the end of the main tunnel using the mining carts and their elaborate track that they have made, noting the open caverns and chasms, as well as the artificial kind of tunnels that they kind of created. Very linear approach to this mine, just getting into the mountains as far as possible and then branching. So you got to the end of that main tunnel where they had found a cavern that was rich with iron. And that's where they prompted that this had happened. You made way into there after talking with a handful of miners who had barricaded the tunnel into that cavern. And then from, I would say, not failed negotiations, but more or less an impasse of negotiations led to conflict that was prompted from Donlin continuing to move up and basically forward, which they noted as aggression, and then they attacked, regardless of the taunt. That was something that they had not, they just didn't wait anymore. Now, they were formidable foes. They were very difficult, but they succumbed to magic as well as all of you and your marshal. So, regardless of them being challenging, you all together were enough to overcome the challenge. From there, you went back. You built some rapport with Pelu. They gave you some coin. They also gave you quest to perhaps go further with this to see if you can stop them completely. That also requires you to figure out why they're coming in, something they didn't answer. They had interest in Donlin, particularly, which has led to what we're going to get to this session, most likely. And then they had a letter which had an alarm spell in the drawer, as well as the wardrobe, which has some sort of spell upon it as well. It gives some information about Corvus Lapidary. Might know more since they're old. They kind of have a connection, descendant of the actual founders of this mine and this town, or the village, I should say. Mentioned Throck, the best blacksmith in the village, and that's in the north here of the field house, nearby the corral. So, what are we going to get to today? Well, that's why I asked you, prompted last week, to really go through what we might be able to kind of accomplish in terms of time. It looks like we're all splitting up. So, Kanan, your task here is fairly simple. So, without further ado, we're actually going to put ourselves back into just this kind of this village map that we have. Um, Caden, you are going to be kind of headed into the village to try to find a temple here for confession. There is not a temple that they have. They have small gatherings from your inquisitive conversations, folk in the village square, is they have gatherings that they'll form every other week or so, more of a communal base in someone's home, and then they'll do worship. There are a religious kind of note to Palor that carries over from Othema, noting that some of these people actually have come from there. They mention the sun tree as a remarkable sacrament or vestige to Palor, the sun god. From that information, you're able to get a number of them for confession and prayer at the tavern, which is what you wanted to do. So now you're headed with a kind of a gathering of sorts to the tavern for confession. Jax, you want to get a commission of 5 daggers to be completed by morning. It's easy enough from Throck. Throck can easily make sure that you get that accomplished for you. Donlin, you are going to be attending dinner with Alu. That dinner can be private or a public dinner. So Palu is going to ask you if you want to have dinner at the tavern, it's more of a public setting, or you want to have a more intimate meal upstairs at the field house, set privately at a small table with a nice bottle, Pinot Noir, aged 36-year cheese, bread, a few other sorts of dried fruits and things. Knowing they don't really have a kitchen per se.
Yeah, I think Donlin would do private just so that way it's
Private. Okay. um, Lance, you said you want to help basically heal and such. You want to go around and work with the halfling that we had encountered, which was the person that you had made way to the manor as well with. You wanted to go around and help with healing and things. So for that, we can actually just go through checks if you want. So if you're working on any sort of artisan or proficiency with something, you can actually add a few. I would say maybe 2 to 3 checks if you want to herbalism or an associated tool if you'd like to. Um, there are reagents and things that you're able to gather from these homes, as well as in the village square. Some of the traders will easily freely give them to you to help cure some diseases and ailments that plague these people. There is no temple here with dedicated clerics or healers, but there are rangers that pass by that can aid with poultices and things. And so those same individuals can offer things to you for free, and you're able to then go about to the houses and things, just knocking on doors, guided by the halfling, right, to the people that they know of. So they're going to be kind of a guide to you. Now, Jax, you also said you wanted to steal things. There really isn't anything to steal except from Palu's field house or the Duke's manor. If you go home to home, you're not going to get a whole lot of coin from these people. There is the guards barracks; they might have some coin there, but you have to wait for the cover of night for kind of any venture.
Yeah,
So
no,
there
I'm
really,
I'm I'm good. I'm gonna wait for night to do anything anyway.
okay. So Kang or Pip, what remind me what you wanted to do, because I wrote down the notes, but I have a little bit of confusion on what I wrote down. So,
Basically, I wanted to find, I guess, the old guy and talk to him about
oh, you wanted
more.
the lapidary? Yes, right.
Yeah,
Okay, because I was like, I mentioned that you were like talking to NPC, and I was like, I didn't really put down. Okay, so you want to go to the lapidary, talk to Culpus, okay, and then
yeah.
Lehman, you want to head to the blacksmith and pick up your stuff, right? Is there anything else you want to do?
No, I'm just gonna wait on the dwarves to return.
Okay, so you just kind of go to the blacksmith, and you're just kind of hanging out, waiting, and then waiting for Lance to return. There you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and drag you.
I was looking back at my notes. I thought me and Palu were going to the Duke's house. That's why I offered to go with. But
So that was so Palu was going to head over to the Duke's Manor, but noting what you want to do, right? If you wanted to go over to 10, we can do the Duke's Manor. That's fine. We can do the Duke's Manor. That's just kind of
no, you're
pointing to
good.
what you want to do as a character with Palu versus what you want to do. with the Duke.
Oh no, Donlin just wants to get free food out of this, so
Okay,
he figured the
It's a
Duke had the
fancy
best
free
food.
food with the Duke.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty much.
I just
what
want.
he wanted.
I wanted to clarify.
No,
a
no, no,
little
no,
bit
no.
there. I shouldn't say the tower. I should say the Duke's Manor.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. The other thing would just to be, be nice to Palu. So that's more for Palu than it is for Donlin. Come on now.
All right, so leaving those 2 items into your inventory, a longsword and shield. That's what you requested from the blacksmith. You can reduce your coin by 20 gold if you'd like. Jax, I'm just going to go ahead and put in daggers into your inventory. I'm gonna remove. You have 2 daggers independently. I'm gonna remove one of them and save 6 daggers just in quantity.
Okay.
Not really a whole good way of keeping track of thrown daggers, so just kind of a loose thing that you might have to compile. We might have to be. We could get a little tricky with it and change the dagger to take ammunition, and then have dagger be an ammunition thing. So, but we can come to that at a later point. But it's an option. All right. Well,
And
who wants to go? Go ahead.
Just how much gold or silver or whatever for the daggers?
So they're going to be 2 gold each of this blacksmith. So it's just a total of 10.
Okay.
So who wants to go first in terms of role play between Donlin and I would say Pip or Kang first. So those are the 2 points of role play.
All right. Can we switch the infusion to the longsword?
You want to equip the longsword?
And infuse it.
Okay, you want to put your infusion on it to make it enhance. Okay, gotcha.
And I'll do that with this sheet here.
Yeah, I'm doing it for you. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got you. So who wants to go first?
I could go.
Oh.
If you want. Mine's probably gonna be shorter
Okay.
or longer. We don't know.
Give me 1 second. Editing an item. And I'm gonna get a scene here for the lapidary, and then I'm gonna go ahead and have it activated for everybody so they can have perspective and views of the lapidary. Now it is a little bit late in terms of the time of day for these people of this village because it gets cold. So a lot of these people are going into their homes. They're headed to the tavern for prayer with Kanan here. Or they're being helped by Lance with their ailments and things. So there's a lot that is happening around the village where people are going to their homes, so not necessarily going into the lapidary. So Pip, you have a little bit here of, dare I say, some seclusion, right, from perhaps other customers or things coming in and out of the shop. The lapidary, as terms of the structure here, is remarkably simple. It's a 2-story stone brick structure. The stone is quite old and weathered. Age is probably the oldest structure inside of the actual village here. It has a stone slate roof, which suggests dwarven architecture. There's a flat stone door. The stone door has a few different grooves and things in it. Simple wrought iron handle ring that can be pulled in and out. And the seal of the door is quite heavy. So the door is pretty thick in terms of its size. There's no windows on the structures. There's a few benches by a staircase that elevates it because all these buildings have foundations to get away from the snow and such. No windows, right? Because but there's a few chimneys with heat. There's smoke giving off, so you imagine it has to do with the cold, right? No windows. And the sign that sits here really just has a depiction of a gemstone that's a little bit amorphic in terms of its size. And then underneath that just simply states Kolvas, and then Dwarvish of Kolvas underneath that. We're gonna move your token.
Alright. Guess I should. Guess he's gonna walk up to the door and just knock.
You're gonna knock on the door.
Mm-hmm. Trying to be polite.
All right. So after 8 minutes has passed, eventually the door slowly begins to open. As the door opens, what stands before you is a very old dwarf. The dwarf, in terms of age, you'd imagine this dwarf to be near death of age. They have a thick auburn beard, hair that's quite wild, blue eyes run into their immensely wrinkled face. They have a few scars around the left neck, stretching down and slightly left, suggesting they've been wounded in their lifetime. They wear a brown apron covered in bits of dirt and black suit. A mixture of tools sitting on a leather belt wraps around the pockets of the apron, and underneath is a fine white cloth blouse with silver cufflinks to lift the sleeves above the elbow. Brown leather trousers fit into matching leather and hide boot. On seeing you, they slowly begin to turn themselves around and walk away from the door, motioning their hands. Come in, come in.
Well, thank you. It's awfully cold outside.
It is very much so. How can I help you this fine evening?
Well, start off. My name is Kent. I think that's Kent. My name is Kent.
Kit. Where does
Close
that
enough.
name come from?
I believe it was my grandfather's name.
Your grandfather. What was your grandfather's profession?
If I'm not mistaken, I think he had a modest, just worked on shoes.
A cobbler. Wow. How impressive. Where was their trade?
Oh, you wouldn't have heard of it. It's very far out there.
Oh, you should try me.
Have you ever heard of the town Sherwood?
No.
Uh,
While we land then. Oh, well.
yeah, he traveled.
Oh, Kit, my name is Corvas from House Steelorg. It's my lapidary.
Nice to meet you.
How may I help you? Have a sample, perhaps, you need inspected, or would you like to browse my wares?
Maybe in a second. However, I do have some questions that hopefully you can help me with that were kind of might help me and my friends in the town out.
Questions? Oh, well. By all means, ask away, but do allow me to go take a seat first.
Oh no, by all means.
Begin to walk away slowly and surely as they walk with a small walking stick, taking nearly 5 to 8 more minutes to actually get back to their desk on the back left of the building. Sitting down slightly, they have the old man sit down. Eventually, they fall into the wooden chair. All right. Questions?
So, are you familiar with any of the disturbance that was in the mines?
Oh, disturbance in mind. Not that I'm familiar with. There's been A few disturbances in the mine in the past, but I don't know anything of recent.
Recently we had went in to stop some hostile acts by a group of what were they? Stone goblin or not goblin? Dwarfs.
They were gray dwarfs, and they
Grey dwarfs.
had a painted white fist on their pauldrons and helm.
We were recently had to put a stop to some gray dwarfs, and I was just wondering if you're familiar with any grave dwarfs or some Emerald City, Diamond City type thing that they spoke of.
Oh, gray dwarfs. Emerald City. Oh, doesn't surprise me as something that they might have. From some of my books, points towards the bookshelf by the door. Some of the accounts of my family, they ran into gray dwarfs. I personally haven't had the pleasure. It has been foretold when I was a youngling. The gray dwarfs would come into the mines and steal your precious minerals, your gold, kidnap your children. And so we were taught. I have read those books, and they speak of the Grey Dwarfs as far more ambitious with their agendas. It's a city made of emeralds. Many things happen in the Dark Abyss that we know nothing about. It would not surprise me if they have a city of jewels of sorts.
Do you know about any other more of their history, or how we could maybe convince them to let us into the city? Like their temperament, anything like that, other than what we got, which was very quick-tempered?
Oh, you face Grey Dwarf?
Yes. 20 of them.
Oh, what happened?
Well, we defeated most of them, and a few ran away.
See. Well, Grey Dwarfs, from what I have read, are very honorable kind. They are loyal. This is not untrue by just dwarfs. We stick to our houses, united under a clan banner, and we come to arms if we need to. And very community driven. That requires immense loyalty, bound in blood or law. Would not surprise me, but at least there is something that these Grey Dwarfs are after that you have faced. There is a reason why they are in the mine, beyond just stealing precious minerals. Speaking with them, you should seek an audience, but you must come with something of worth to them for that audience. Never coming to someone to negotiate peace or barter or trade, it's best to have a gift of something that is valuable. It could be information, it could be an item. Perhaps you need to figure this out in terms of what they're after first before you can offer anything of value. Might be difficult, depending on how many you faced. Them being armed, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, they started.
None of my descendants have had any qualms or quarrel with Grey Dwarfs in the Harrock mine. Only the very four ancestors of this mine talked about creatures that had plagued it. Large insects that would feast on these crystals. Other amorphous, large, orbous things that would battle them and spoke guttural language in the shadows. Great magic. books over there you can read and know more about that. No great dwarfs.
Well, what about? Did you happen to know what they, instead of like a gift, something they maybe fear, maybe, or something to that nature, if they decide not to play friendly?
What do you mean by that?
Like, these guys seem to be pretty tough. I mean, there was 20 after all, but I don't know. I figured they weren't, as you said, they were very, they really were honor bound, as you mentioned. And I try to persuade them not to be using, let's say, a fear tactic, so to speak, that they did not go for very well. Apparently, they don't fear gods, which is pretty impressive. Do you know something that I could have used better? Because you seem the only person that has any knowledge of great dwarfs around that I am aware of.
Oh. Well. Sorry. No, we're gonna no. Sorry, that was a naked baby. Okay.
Can't control kids, man.
Kid running out naked. Good thing I had the desk elevated. That would have been real rough.
Fastest ban on Twitch.
A ban on Twitch immediately. Okay. Run it back one more time for me. Yeah, sorry.
So we tried peace, and then for a bit, and then I tried a little scare tactic, and apparently they don't fear gods.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Is there anything you think that I might have been able to persuade them with, if not a gift or something, that maybe if they would have responded to better?
Well, I'd imagine grey dwarfs, like all dwarfs, don't hold claim to fear of gods in the sense that other races do, species do. Moradin is quite common. There was a few other clans that might lay claim, but they are more or less in service to the deity. The deity does not claim any sort of acclamation or smite upon their followers. That would still fear. These grey dwarfs might also be trained, not have fear. More classical sense. They need to see it, or they realize that it is something they need to fear. A gift that you might be able to offer them, precious gems or jewels, can be of something that is great worth. It could be difficult to know what they would find valuable, things that they might not have elsewhere. Might even try food. Dark Abyss is a dangerous place. Not a lot of things grow there. Bring them delicious treats might be just enough. I don't know. I'm just an old dwarf.
Old. You look young. What are you kidding? Old.
I appreciate the compliment, but I am long past, long overdue. My children have gone. My wife has passed a few winters ago. And my children have staked claim elsewhere. You know, if you are to reach these grey dwarfs, do make an account of your travels and your conversations. Always good to keep a proper record.
I will do. Yeah, I might tell you all about it once we resolve it, you know? Get your mind off some things, you know? Sorry about the wife.
It has been a long time. I do not have any sorts of issues with her passing. Once you get to this age, things just happen.
Um, while I'm here, do you know anything about the Duke or anything that seems odd lately in the town?
Well, the Duke is odd just in general. The village is small. For a Duke to come into this land, it's why is the reasoning. I have overheard whispers from Barlow at the tavern that there was some royal decree put under the mine, and Palu has had a little bit more of a short temper. Some things. Points towards the top left of this building. Just a bunch of crates and barrels with Rock Mining Company symbol. Samples. So Korvas is the one who works through samples. Probably brought from the prospect and others from the mine. What I can say is I watched that lavish manor be built and the slew of materials brought from faraway places. The amount of gold that would cost is just absolutely extravagant. And for some strange reason, lots of excavation of stone. An abundance of stone that they were pulling from the earth. Most likely supporting a hefty cellar or underdwelling to the building. And from there they moved it and sold it away. I'd imagine, gave it away. I don't know.
And that's not what normally happens, obviously. So before the
I'm gonna be right back. Someone just pulled in my driveway.
All good.
before this Duke showed up, was he the first Duke type presence in this town?
Oh, like I had said, this village had no mayor, had no duke, had no sense. We are under the banner of Lord Thowlin Falor. So often we have aid that is sent. Paladins and soldiers, as well as clerics, will come and help. This is aid that happens every other month or so. In the good months, before the winter strikes, they bring other supplies, gifting for free to the people here. But that is all of the government we have. We don't even have a guard, really. And the individuals here are fed for themselves. And the creatures that would plague us are generally hunted by larger creatures. There's not many resources or reasons to come down the mountain. Just take a moment, realize that Brad didn't mute them, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if I could force them into a mute.
I'm not sure he wants anybody to hear what's
I know. I'm gonna see if we can get this. Settings. Video off, hide, hang up, transfer.
Oh, I
If I-
double clicked on his stream, and then there's in the bottom right, you can mute his stream individually.
Do you still hear Brad?
Nope.
Okay, I did a server mute.
Yeah,
on
I
them.
don't
Oh,
hear him
okay.
either.
I did a server mute on them. Okay. Awesome. If you do hear, just let me know. Hopefully, when Brad comes on the screen. Okay.
Well, I think you've answered everything I have. I know it's getting late for you guys out here, you know. Sure you got better things to do. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. If you notice anything odd or different, please let me know. It'd be great help to us.
Here to help to us? Who is us?
Me and the people I'm with, you know, they do. You know, I gotta little merry man, so to speak.
Ah, see. Well, I will reach out to you. Are you staying at the tavern? Or are you trader?
Um,
Wagon, Village Square?
we will see about. I'm not too sure. There's a young lady that I need to speak to, and yeah.
All right, then.
But again, I appreciate everything. I'll come back once everything's done, just to give you a recap. Since you can write it down, maybe in some books that you love, and yeah.
All right, then. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kit. You have a good rest of your night, huh?
Have a good one.
All right, farewell. Bye.
And then Pip will proceed to leave.
Okay.
His next stop would be the Dukes, if that matters.
Oh, you're headed to the Dukes now?
Mhm. But
Okay. So we'll bring us back over here. So now departing and heading for the manor. Everything's going to happen in sequence with relevant of time. So really it comes down to Donlin. Is there anything that you want to roleplay with the Duke or Pelu at the table for dinner? Or is it really just about eating?
I mean, I would probably mention the dwarves and see if the Duke would spare some soldiers for a show of force. Because Donlin knows how to, bulk up. So he would. That's probably the only thing he would ask.
Gotcha.
Other than that, yeah, he's there for the shiny utensils and the food. Like a musclehead 8-year-old dude.
So I'm going to set the stage just a little bit. We can go through a little bit of that role play, and then we'll have most likely Pip arriving, and then asking questions if they have extra questions or things. And then from there, we'll go to Kanan. So, and then hopefully by that point, everyone will kind of converge in their separate things, or we'll have to go maybe out of character in terms of what we're doing. So at the table here, it's very lavish. There are exotic fruits that have been prepared in a variety of different ways. This is a multi-course meal of several different things. And it would suggest in this meal that there is much coin that has been spent on getting food from other places to provide here. Elise is always at the side, ready to go to pour more of a choice of beverage. Duke currently has a golden goblet filled with wine. Pelu is enjoying something similar of fine vintage, offers it to you as well. There are servants at the standby here are waiting, but they're mainly just picking up plates and moving things around from the courses. There is cooks currently in the kitchen. Their voices can be heard slightly, but they keep it quite quiet because everything is very small in the kitchen in terms of how large the dining room is. Duke has welcomed you to the table very graciously as a host. They are very thankful. After Pelu has introduced you and what you have done, they're very thankful for that. Now you can go ahead and commence your roleplay.
Yeah. So about all those dwarves, there's a lot of them. They're soldiers. So I was thinking, I saw your town guard. They don't necessarily need to fight, but I'm thinking if they go with us tomorrow, that show of force will give us, more intimidation to try to prevent more bloodshed.
Well, my God, not exactly soldiers by any means. They are merely recruited individuals of the village, that miners from the Rock Mining Company that wanted a little bit more coin for their efforts. Took a little bit of extra motivation for their weapons and armor. Hello, honey. Took a little more motivation for their weapons and armor. In terms of coin for some of the blacksmiths, but eventually we have them armed and ready to go. From what Pelu has just said, and what you have said, I do not wish to start a war here. And any show of force from an assembled village might suggest to these creatures that we are meant to wage war with them.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole war thing, but I do understand that there's a lot of them and there's not a lot of us. So if we go talk to them, they may kill us. So I'm saying you just, we send equal numbers, makes a good bargain.
Roll persuasion. Okay. I can see your plea for aid is strong here, and I understand where you're coming from. What